Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you out to another installment of Cornerstone Conversations with Coop. Everybody want to thank y'all for coming out. In one moment, we're going to have the very talented David Kim come on, who has been the hit boy engineer for the King's Disease projects, amongst many other things we're going to be talking to him about shortly this evening. Super excited to talk to him. It's always good when we get a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on, not just from the producer standpoint, but there's the engineers, there's the mixing and the mastering process. I believe Mr. Kim has also been getting into some other things as well, so we're just going to be patient while we wait for him to come on. Shout out to everybody that was just watching us on According to Hip Hop. Shout out to Mike D. Shout out to Mirror Music 99. You all can click like and subscribe to the page. It's Cornerstone Conversations with Coop. You can follow me on YouTube at Coop is Problematic. Most of y'all already know me from According to Hip Hop. You know me from Mirror Music 99 as well. We have the talented David Kim coming in shortly.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Zoom
Oh, yeah.
my bad.
No, you're good. What's good with you, brother? Hold on. You all right today?
Yes, sir, man. Just grinding.
I'm about to say, you're in the studio, so you're still working right now. I mean, let's go ahead and jump right in. First of all, for everybody who doesn't know, this is mix and master engineer extraordinaire, Mr. David Kim, who most notably has worked with Hit Boy on the recent NAS projects for hip hop heads, but you've worked on a lot of other stuff too, and hopefully we can get into that pretty quickly. First of all, what are you working on right now? I see that you're like literally in the yo.
I was just working with the homie Franks. He's a local LA guy. And then there's a girl named Haley Knox. She does like acoustic slash.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing stuff overseas. I'm trying to get in my, K-pop bag. Recently, or like 5 years ago, I went back. I was born there originally. I went back and I refound my identity. The pilgrimage, the motherland trip. Stuff.
Well, that's kind of funny. That's my first question because, when we were talking behind the scenes, I was saying it's like, it's hard to find some information on you. I like that. That's a good thing that made me actually do some digging. My first question is, are you from LA and are you first generation? Because I know your parents moved here from Korea. I just weren't sure if you were born here but you obviously weren't, as you just stated. So tell me a little bit just about your origins and where you're from and how long you moved to California and how you got here and all that.
So I was originally born in Seoul. My parents immigrated here when I was 4.
Okay.
So in 91, we moved to Los Angeles, to Koreatown, Los Angeles, and then to chase the American dream. And then a year later, the 92 riots happened.
Oh, God. So they're in Koreatown by the old Forum.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
So you're from LA.
Down Western. Yeah.
Yeah, you're from LA. That's LA. Oh, that's the city. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was my first question, is actually where you were from.
Yeah, man. I got the little representation.
No, I was telling Hit, I used to live in Riverside, but I used to work in Orange County and I used to do music and I got family in LA. So I was like all around Southern California in my 20s. So I've been to Koreatown a few times.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys had the little IE connection then.
Yeah. I lived in Corona, Circle City. Yeah. Yeah, I used to work in Orange County and Irvine. I got family right on the Baldwin Hills line by Slauson Barbecue. Family in the Navy by Port Hueneme, Santa Monica side, down in the Navy, San Diego side, Oceanside. So I know the area pretty well.
Where are you at now?
I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
I recorded my first album. Half of my first album I recorded in Costa Mesa, actually. And it was in a library, but upstairs was a studio. One side was a recording studio. The other side was an acoustic studio. That's where I did my first early solo work. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Small world. I've been telling Hit, it's kind of funny. Like, our come up on According to Hip Hop has kind of been attached to West Coast guys, which is kind of like where I kind of like made my mark and learned a lot about, just rap and music and sounds. One of the things that's always attracted me to West Coast producers is just like the sounds are so clean and so crisp. So my first question for you is, what song or album made you want to become a musical engineer, and was hip hop the focus or the plan?
Man, so hip hop. I grew up around a church, but
Okay.
the first genre of music that I was attracted to was rap. And ironically enough, my first album I ever purchased was Illmatic, followed by It Was Written.
Okay. So 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 funny story. My cousin, who was my music producer, just left here. He had a tape copy of Illmatic. That wasn't the first album that I bought, but I bought Do or Die with my money the next year. So Do or Die by AZ was
Yeah.
the first tape that I ever bought, but it was based off my cousin having Illmatic because I used to take all his songs and dub it, and he would pretty much like whoop my ass for continually stealing his tape and messing it up. Yeah, so
That's
true story.
that's when you can record the tape, press play
Right.
and
You
record.
yes, the old dub. Yes, the
You know?
old dub. Yes. Used to write on, I'd be like, this is my blunt tape. It's like Nas, Biggie, Wu-Tang. So
Oh, crap.
how Nas for a West Coast guy, no Ice Cube, no Snoop. What about Illmatic and It Was Written? I mean, tell me what your home life is like. Is that like, are you songwriters, more lyricists, more East Coast
Um,
driven?
no, my parents, they my dad is like super multi-talented instruments, but then he never got to pursue his passion in music and became like a electrical engineer. Now he has his own plumbing company. But I was always around it. And like I said, I grew up in the church, but the thing, I think the first thing that touched my ears in elementary school was It Was Written. The my friend had it on a Walkman, and like that was literally my introduction to hip hop or rap. And like
Wow.
since that was the first thing that I heard, I latched onto it, and then followed by I listened to a lot of Tupac. I listened to a lot of Bone Thugs.
Okay.
So I was an LA guy, but I leaned kind of towards lyrical content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I know from doing a little bit of research and from what I could find out about you, you went to the Musicians Institute in Hollywood
Yeah.
and you graduated from the top of your class at the Musicians Institute in Hollywood, correct?
Yes, sir.
So tell me, I want to hear
Uh-huh.
about your experiences at the Musicians Institute, and I want to hear, were there any notable encounters with any future stars or future artists, producers, entertainers, people in the business from that time there? Because that's a little bit of a breeding ground of sorts. Are there any relationships forged? Tell me what that whole experience was like, actually going for schooling for engineering.
I think around the same time I was there, Anderson .Paak was doing the drum program. Like
Okay.
me and Anderson go way back, and then a member of his band, the Free Nationals, his name is Matt. We were in the same program together, the engineering program.
Okay.
He was a producer, and he also DJ'd and played guitar and stuff. And he wanted to learn how to mix and record, and so we were in that program together. He had like he had the day classes. I had the night classes. But yeah, a lot of guys that I went to school with are no longer doing music. I'll pop in. I saw one of my classmates at the movie theater, and he was working theater. I saw another homie. He was working at the bar that I was at, and I was like, dang, it's not you don't get a participation award in life. You don't get a pass because you do the work. You gotta excel. You gotta do a little bit more than the next guy. And if you want to succeed, you gotta do a lot more than the next guy. And that was like one of my most humbling moments was like I went to school, I finished top of my class, and I was like, I did it. Nah. Like for 2 years, I couldn't find work, and I was just trying to find an internship, and I couldn't find work. So that really told me like, okay, it's not about going hard and finishing one mission. You got to keep doing it, and if you want the success that people want, that people wish for, you got to consistently grind. You got to consistently be the best. It's not a one-time thing.
What were those 2 years like, and what did you do in those 2 years?
Those 2 years were a lot of crying, a lot of self-hate, a lot of like evil thoughts, a lot of man, I didn't amount to anything. The people, my friends were right, the haters, they were right. Um, I failed to make my parents proud, you know. And I think it took for me to really hit rock bottom and feel really pathetic about myself to um summon up the courage to kind of like to chase my fears, you know, and like, hey, my back's against the wall, there's nothing else I can do, you know, it's either this or I go die. You know, bluntly put.
I can understand that because you know you're feeling like a failure. I mean, were your parents supportive of your journey into music? As somebody that's essentially a first generation U.S. citizen in a lot of ways for your family?
They were supportive, but you know, there was a lot of passive aggression. um you know, they worked their ass off. They left the country to provide, you know, an opportunity for me and my brother, and I'm over here doing less than they were able to, while speaking the language, while having the opportunity. So it's like I felt that every day, no matter how understanding they were, no matter how supportive they were, you know, I knew the undertones that existed. You know, I felt the pressure and the words that didn't even need to be said out of, from their mouths.
Was that motivating for you? Was that is
Oh
that part
yeah,
of the driving force and part of where your work ethic and where your comeuppance comes from?
for sure. At first, it's really at first it hurts because you know the guilt is something that like I avoided for a long time, and then finally being responsible for your guilt and your situation and understanding that you got yourself here, it really hurt for the first, you know, year, for the first like whatever months. But once I realized that like, okay, this is what my parents did with way less. let me see what Let me see how they moved, and let me see how they dealt with adversity. Let me see how hard it was for them. That kind of made me come to the conclusion like, yo, I have no excuses. Like, I just need to get up and go, you know, and the first step is the most important.
Hmm. What do you think you did to separate yourself in the Musicians Institute to actually finish at the top of your class and even like develop that fortitude to keep going? Because I would imagine you graduating at the top of your class is something that probably helped, gave you a piece of motivation in those 2 years of downtime.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I think one of the things is like I put maximum effort in. And this is what, you know, I've had successes before. Like I played football my whole life. I was scouted to go D1. I got injured senior year, classic story. But I look back at that and I was successful at it, but I didn't put my 100. You know,
Hmm.
in a lot of things in my life, I did not put my 100. I told myself, hey, what would happen if I put my 100? And I tried it. And I might have still got to like 99, 98. There might have been days I didn't want to study and things like that. But you know, that was the most effort I ever put into anything. And I was awarded for it.
Okay.
So
No, no,
that
no.
taught, you know, on
No, no,
one
no.
side, hey, if you work hard, you can achieve something that you never even expected could happen. And then on the other end, it's like if you don't do anything, nothing's gonna happen.
Okay. Now, David, you know, I have a dear friend of mine down here. He's a producer. He's part of a production team that's called the Yardies. His name is Matt. He's kind of like you in the sense when I was reading your profile that he went to school for this and got trained. And much like you, he did an internship. He did an internship at Dallas Austin Studios down here in Atlanta. And this is when Dallas Austin has like Pink, Madonna, you name it, running through literally. And I've been around a lot of people, but some of the best music stories that I've ever heard are from my guy Matt in his time interning at Dallas Austin Studio. Now, you were an intern at Chalice Recording Studios. So I would like to hear some of your stories about your time as an intern there, because I find that the intern stories are usually some of the best producer engineer stories.
Oh man,
Right. Look, you're thinking of which story to tell me right now.
yeah. Because there's 4 or 5 years worth.
Right.
Every day.
Just a couple of footnotes, couple of highlights. Like, I'm gonna tell you what, like, I'll give you an example. My guy tells me every time, he's like, I put up those lights in Dallas's studio. He's like, all you dudes recording records in Dallas's studio, my lights. You only see them because of me. That's one of his intern stories.
So ironically, me and Hit, we have rooms at Chalice now.
Yes.
So every single day I walk down the halls, I remember I'm the one that dusted these plaques. I'm the one that used to vacuum. Every time I see the toilet that I'm about to piss on, I'm like extra careful because I know I used to scrub them shits. You know what I mean? If there's a splatter on the mirror, I clean it up, knowing that like that can make somebody's day or break somebody's day. Because there's times where, there was a stretch where I wanted to quit every single day. And I'll be on my way to the studio manager's office, and I'm like, dude, if I quit right now, then I lose. I know I'm no longer participating. As long as I'm on my feet, I have a chance. But the second I stop, it's a wrap. And like, bro, I'm telling you, there's times where there's one time a homeless dude defecated on the gate of the studio, and I was like the bottom bench at the time.
Right.
And it's like we looked at a homeless dude shit outside, and then we wait to see if someone says anything like, I thought maybe we can call the city to clean it up, or
Not LA.
This guy, I had to clean that up and put on
So
the
you
glove.
literally have gone from cleaning the shit off of the front gates to having your own recording space right next to Hit, or somewhere in the same building as Hit, who you look up to, like in the studio.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I just think that's a great story for people who are aspiring in this business. It sometimes can be a needle in the haystack business. And I think, some of what I'm hearing about your story is about the perseverance of it. And also the willingness to do anything. You're literally recording out of a space that you used to have to like clean to make your key. Does any of like maybe the main producers and artists who were come through at that time like recognize you now and remember you from that time and like say anything to you?
Yeah, because a lot of them are my clients now.
Wow. Yeah. So explain to me, where did that transition happen from intern to mix master engineer?
So you probably know, but the studio hierarchy goes intern to a runner, which is a paid intern, to a assistant engineer to engineer. And at Chalice Recording Studio, it's a recording studio, so there's no in-house mixers. Like the pinnacle of this place is being the recording engineer. I went from I paid my dues as an intern, got a runnership, and I was a runner for 4 years, and longest 4 years of my life. And one of the assistant engineers at the time, he took a vacation to Europe for a month. I was next one up. So, hey, so-and-so is going to Europe for a month. Are you ready to assist? I'm like, yeah. I was in the studio more than anybody, because on the downtimes when the studios are open, our studio manager, Sandra, shout out to Sandra, she would let us, get in there, get our hands wet. And I would be there every single day, Monday through Saturday. I came to the studio on Monday morning, and I went home on Saturday night. I did this for 4 years. I clocked in at 9, clocked out at 6. From 6 o'clock, I asked what studio's open. Get into any single studio. Get in there. either bring people from outside to record, or I'll record whatever song or mix whatever song I had over and over and over and over again. And once I'm done with it, I'll just delete everything and I'll mix it again. But so whatever I had to do, if it was, watching a movie in the studio that night, I'll just get in there and feel like I belonged, you know what I mean? So I literally did not go home during the weekdays. And by the time I had, a chance to assist, I was ready because I knew these rooms better than anybody. So it went from assistant engineer, a similar story. I got a chance to engineer for, I think it was Jamie Foxx. I think that was my first gig. And that went smooth. I showed Sandra that I can, handle these sessions.
Hold on, which Jamie Foxx gigs? What Jamie Foxx gig is this?
It was just a songwriting session. The song didn't make it to an album or anything. But
no. I'm just actually asking because actually my family that's out in Cali, like, is close to Fox. Like,
no way.
Yeah, one of
it
Fox's
people recording. It was a recording session. He was just in there going through sounds. And
so my cousin started off as one of Fox's stylist assistants, and it's kind of like worked his way up the chain, like you have. And he's actually, I believe, in London with Fox and the crew right now because Fox is filming. So when you said Jamie Foxx, I was thinking like, oh no, like cuz no Fox. Like, yeah, like when cuz comes home, he just pulled out whatever the last thing Fox did. Like, cuz got the video of him signing the poster for my cousin. So that's some of my LA ties actually. Yeah.
Damn, small world, bro.
That's a small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you who my cousin is off camera because y'all may have crossed paths because he's on the scene and there a lot and works out that way. I like that. So Jamie Foxx, do you remember what song it was? Do you remember, did it make the cut of the album? You don't remember?
It didn't make an album.
Didn't make an album?
And we didn't really finish recording a song that day either. It was just like, it was more like him killing time or just going through certain sounds that a producer sent him.
Now I have to cover this part of the record, and for the record for my daughter right now. My daughter's not a big hip hop fan, David, but she is a big K-pop fan. She is the biggest BTS fan. I have spent so much. I've spent more money on BTS merchandise for her since she was about 12. She's 16 now. Than I spent on Nas merchandise when I found out about him from 13 to about 16. So it's serious. And you are the mixer for On the Street with J Hope and J Cole, produced by P Dog, right?
Sure.
So for my daughter, so I can show her this and show her that I actually interviewed the guy who mixed a song with J Hope, who was a BTS member on it. Tell me about On the Street. Tell me how that came together. Tell me what your relationship with BTS is like, J. Cole is like, and tell me about P Dog too. Like all those things.
Okay. So last November, I threw an event. It's called All Up in the Mix Fest, AIM Fest. It's basically showing people how a song is made from beginning to end. It's a 6-hour segment. We have like a studio on stage, a crowd of 300 people. And P Dog was the producer for that segment. I invited him out, and he basically made a beat from scratch. I took that beat, arranged it, and then had these two artists from Korea, shout out to Camo and Loopy. They came on stage and recorded in front of 300 people to a song they never heard before. And then I took that and I mixed it for the people live. So like, we had this event, and through this event, I got really close to P Dog. And the first song that we worked on together was with RM and Tableau. It was on RM's solo project that he put out last December or January or something like that. But that was the introduction, and then shortly after that, they hit me up to do a song for Jimin. And that one just came out yesterday. And then the third one was actually J Hope and J Cole. But that was we need this one ASAP, I didn't know Cole was on there, and I'm actually a huge Cole fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met Cole a couple of times and never got to work with him because he has a day one engineer. His name's Mez. And when P
Mez?
Dog, yeah, Mez. Uh-huh.
Mez, the old MC Mez?
Nah.
Okay.
His name is Juro, and then Mez is like his nickname.
Okay.
But he's been like his day one guy.
Okay.
Yeah, but through that, through my event, meeting P Dog, getting close to him, he said that he knew who he had to get to mix the record. Sent it over to me. I had no idea J. Cole was even on it. And then they sent me Cole's vocals, and I was like, no, shut up.
I mean, that's another world when you're dealing with the BTS record, though. Did you feel a different level of pressure applied to you? Like they are arguably the biggest band in the world. I mean, I don't even think it's actually arguable. I think they are the biggest band in the world. So when you're doing a song where you're responsible for the mix of a group member of the biggest band in the world, did you feel the pressure from that moment, or are you just to the point with it that it's like you know what you're doing, you're confident in what you're doing, and it's like you kind of have like an ideology and a game plan for how you approach a record anyway, and so you just approached it with your ideology, and this record was no different?
The crazy thing is, I think I felt less pressure, and I'll explain why. It's there was a level of comfortability between their camp and my camp. The songs that I did for them before, me and P Dog would jump on a FaceTime and talk through mixing live, and he let me know how much of a fan that he was of my mixing. And I think that gave me so much confidence going forward. And by the time I got the J-Hope track, I was like, oh, this is just another day in the office, I took a look at it, took a listen. I'm like, okay, 10, 12 years of preparing or preparation. She's like, okay, I need to do this. Boom, 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 boom. And by the time I sent it back, like, I think that's when I got kind of nervous. I sent it back and I was like, oh, dang, this is crazy. Because like while you're in it, you have no time to think about, oh, this is BTS, this is J. Cole, and this kind of goes for like when I'm working with Nas, it's the same exact way. When we're in there cooking, when I'm mixing his stuff, I'm not. It's not Nas. I'm hearing audio. I'm looking at work.
Right. You're still doing your job.
Doing my job. The second it's bounced, or the second I have a breather, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like,
I was about to say, what are your thoughts when you're like bouncing a Nas file and listening to the record that you just mixed while it's bouncing over? And are you sitting there like let's say something like 30, when you're bouncing the file for 30 over, are you like, man, this shit is epic. This shit, like, are you feeling that? Like,
yeah.
You as an engineer, I know like producers and artists talk about it, but the engineer side is like you're responsible for the clarity in a lot of ways of the record. And so like when you hear it coming through the speakers, the way that you like, does it like give you the goosebumps on certain records, or do certain records, when you hear the bounce file of it, you're like, ooh, like, you want to know what? I killed that.
I never think that until it's out.
Okay.
Right. And that's just how my brain is. I'm always looking to better, like if I didn't have a deadline for a mix, I'll work on it forever. So like deadlines are actually the best thing to ever happen, because it's like finally you have to let it go at some point. Right. But there are times I'm listening to the bounce, or I'm in Hits Room and we're listening to all the stuff him and Nas just did. And I'm like, this is, where am I? Like, why am I here?
How did I get here?
Yeah, how did I get here, man? It's crazy. It's surreal.
I do want to talk about the surreal nature of that, but you brought up something that I wanted to talk to you about already, which is the AIM Fest. And can you go deeper about what that is, what your role with it is, and how you see that evolving, and what your purpose and intent and mission statement is for that?
Okay, so AIM Fest, short for All Up in the Mix Fest, and All Up in the Mix is my LLC.
Okay.
And this is an idea that I've been thinking of or trying to execute for the last like 5 years. And I've done it in a small scale. It was also in Seoul, South Korea, 3 years ago, and or 4 years ago now. It was in a studio, small intimate setting, kind of the same blueprint, showing people how a song is made from beginning to end, vibing out. We ended up getting like 2 guys from the audience to jump on the track that we did, and it was so magical. I was like, we need to expand this and scale this to a bigger size. Like people need to know, you know. It makes it more accessible. It makes it less intimidating when you see a song get made right in front of you and you have someone to ask, how did you do this? A lot of the things that I learned in the studio while sitting in the back of the studios, not being able to say a word, is like how there are no gimmicks. Like people just create. There's no excuses to creation. It just happens. And I think with intention, it's intention is the forefather of creation, and I just want to show the next generation of musicians. Korea has amazing musicians, but they don't translate into professional careers. Same here. But the Asian culture, we're really, really diligent, practice our asses off. Like the piano players, the orchestral players, like they're off the chain, but it's rare to turn that into a career. What if you can use those talents to learn how to produce, learn how to, engineer, become a vocal producer instead of a vocal coach or a voice lesson teacher or something like that. You know what I mean?
Instead of it making a part-time job, make it your life.
Exactly. And I just want to give people access career opportunities.
No, I love that. One of the things that I noticed about you just from digging up on you, and I'm glad that you're going through all this. I have this in my notes right here. I said, I can tell you are very proud of your Korean heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going to ask you to talk more about that, but I kind of think that you just did.
Yeah,
so,
man. I would like to add to it though, if you don't mind.
Yes, please. No, please do.
Being an immigrant to this country, I had to assimilate. Mm-hmm. And I was never allowed to be proud of who I was. So I always need to latch onto different cultures. That's why hip hop was so big in my life. Because I grew up.
You needed something to make you feel at home, comfortable.
Exactly. And that's something that helped me, fit in school. That's why I played sports, I think. So for a long time, my identity was something that wasn't me. And I got married 5 years ago, and we went to Korea for the honeymoon, and like I had a crazy moment. We were there's a city of Busan. That's the second biggest city in Korea, South Korea. And we went up to the tower, and I was overlooking like the city, and I just started bawling, in the middle of the public. I just started crying, and I couldn't control it. It was just like that void in my heart that was being filled, and it was straight up like a pilgrimage. And I'm like, okay, these are my people, and I've tried to forget and pretend like they didn't exist, and to make myself more comfortable, and realize now that that I can be both, and I can be the bridge.
Well, I have a question for you, because you saying that makes me want to ask you a follow-up question. Was that the moment that you realized, like, I made it and I'm me and everything's okay, and all I need to do is move forward with the path that I've paved for myself?
I think that was the beginning of the discussion with myself. That was the first time it was introduced to me that it was okay to be me.
Yeah. I had a similar moment like that once. I was traveling somewhere with my ex-wife now, but we're still cool. And she asked me like a very, very personal question about some things that I wanted. And I was like, I was in the moment of the space and where we were. And I was like, it wasn't until I was in that moment with her that I realized I didn't need anything, because I was like there. and it had happened. And the things that I had worked for, it kind of got me to that place. And I realized when I got to that place that I didn't need to do anything but the work from there. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Is that kind of like a similar like journey for you, or an epiphany that's kind of led you down that? Because like even what I'm doing right now with According to Hip Hop, it's like I was an artist once, but there was a void within me. And it's like, this is me, like my give back to fill the void for what I didn't provide as an artist, because I stepped away, quite frankly, to be a family man, buy a house, get married, have kids, picket fence, put on a suit and tie, go downtown. Like, no, I did all that. But at the end of the day, like, it wasn't me. And it's like at that moment that I found myself again, I found myself working for According to Hip Hop like a year later. And it just kind of started, who I am started happening.
Wow. Yeah, I do feel that, I feel like it's not so much the journey to like figure myself out. It's the journey to what else can I learn? What else is out there? What else can I give back? Because a lot of things about my journey is like I didn't have a mentor, through this whole process. I had people here and there that I could reach out to, but I didn't have like that stable mentorship from anybody. And I want to be that for somebody. I want to change somebody's life. I want to be the reason someone doesn't quit and pursues, their goal and somehow become successful.
I think some of the things you're sharing, when people hear this, they're going to be inspired by it. So I think even you just speaking the way that you're speaking right now is going to have some of that impact. Because even if you just reach one person and change them,
Yeah,
definitely.
It's all about, each one teach one, right?
Yes. No, it is a each one teach one type of thing. I'm glad you said that. So you're a Pro Tools fan.
Huge.
Now I was watching some of your stuff. Now you start your mix with the bass and then the kick and then the drums. Explain to me why in that order from an engineering perspective. Like, I just want to get inside your mind a little bit about your approach.
So it's more genre based. There are exceptions to that, but when I'm working on hip hop, especially, and there's an 808 or like a big bass in there, I feel like that's kind of the center of attention. So whatever the center of attention is, if it's if R&B track and there's crazy Rhodes on there, I might start with the Rhodes or I might start with the vocals. But I usually do the 808 or the bass, turn that up to, about halfway up the meter, and then I bring in the kick and I'm like, okay. I tried to think about if this song was filled with other musical elements, how would the kick fit in there? So I'm visualizing that there is sound that isn't actually there. It's just the 808, but I'm bringing up the kick, and with the understanding of I can always turn it down later. So I'll just crank that thing.
Let me ask you something about that whole process that you just explained. I love that, because you pretty much saying I focus on what's important when I hear the record. Mm-hmm. Do you ever go back and kind of like ask the producer? I know you and Hit have a relationship, so oftentimes he's right there. Do you sometimes like turn over and be like, yo, like, do you mean for these drums to like sound like this? Because I'm making them sound like this. I just want to make sure that like we're on the same page here. Do y'all have that type of dialogue?
All the time. Okay. All the time. Sometimes it's during the process. Sometimes it's post the first mix. Actually, a lot of times it's post the first mix. I'll mix a song super clean, and he'll be like, we need some of that dirty back. We need some of the hood back in there. And like, okay. And we'll go back there. And I think a big part about being an engineer is or being a musician, it's all about teamwork and cohesion. So you can't bring ego to the table. It's not that you're a bad mixer if he says to go fix this. No, if this is where the record is supposed to trend towards. So let's get on the same page, because in the beginning of my career, I took a lot of things personally, like, oh man, I'm not good enough. Because, a lot of childhood traumas and shit led to me thinking if something doesn't work out, I'm not good enough. And I took the blame for a lot of shit. So anytime I got a note back or some kind of revision, a small part of me would take it personally and be like, damn, maybe I'm not a good mixer. But no, it's not that. That's just the direction of the song. You have to get on board with what the song is supposed to be, not what you want the song to be.
Right. No, that's the job of a great engineer too. Right. So, as somebody whose first hip hop listening sessions that they bought were Illmatic and it was written, what's your level and how was it like for this Hit Boy and Nas, King's Disease and Magic Run? And what part did you play? Were you the engineer for all of these albums and projects,
Uh,
including Magic, or just
so for the
particular
first,
records? What did you contribute to the series?
I mixed everything. Yeah. I mixed all of it. A lot of
Listen
the
here.
KD1, KD2, I was in the room
You
as
know, so
well.
how does that feel? Like, I mean, can you imagine that? It's like, how did I go from graduating at the top of my class at this institute to
Yeah.
not having a damn job for 2 years to doing a record that doesn't get placed for Jamie Foxx? And now I'm sitting in here with the
Mhm.
guy whose first tape I bought, and I'm helping him have what is arguably the greatest run of his career.
Yeah. No words, man. There's no words.
Yeah.
And not to say, look, Hit Boy is my favorite producer too.
Well, you know, that's funny that you say that because I have a couple of hip hop questions for you to kind of round out this interview.
Okay.
One of those are who are your top 5 West Coast producers? So
Oh,
you got
quick,
Hit.
quick, DJ Quick, Dr. Dre, Hit Boy, um, 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 dang. I never thought about top 5 producers.
Yeah.
That's
Give me your
tough.
5. I love Quick.
Quick is a genius.
Quick is a genius. I agree.
Battle Cat
Okay.
and damn, who's the Latino homie that used to
Muggs?
do the Tupac records?
Muggs?
I
Oh,
think it's wait,
Muggs, Johnny J?
it's Johnny J.
Johnny J.
Johnny J is up
Oh,
there.
Johnny J did some of Pac's best stuff.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I
No, I
leave it
like
at
the Johnny J shout out. Yeah. Okay. Are you currently starting to make beats yourself? Most engineers either turn into producers or producers turn into engineers and vice versa. So beats coming, beats on the way, making beats.
yeah. Yeah. I got the rig up right now. You know. I made it a thing this year. Like I'm gonna start making beats. I want to leave a legacy to my future kids, and I want them to be eating off something forever. And what better way than to do that with music, And I have a couple placements with Korean artists here and there. But this is the year I'm gonna really get into it.
No, make it happen. Part of why I'm starting my sub channels is actually about my daughter. I want her to have income streams for the things that I do that kind of live on after that I'm here. So I totally get you on that part. Now, where can we find your beats right now? Are you still just kind of like keeping it kind of like, to
Yeah.
artists and like around? We're not like out shopping beats yet, or kind of like if you slid a beat over to Nas and hit yet, like, hey.
Well, my process is I like to sit down with the artist.
Oh, so you're
So
old school.
I'm not the type to sit here and make a catalog. Like anytime I have time, make a beat. No, it's like, hey, you want to cook up, and then we'll sit in here and do something together right away, record it together, and have me mix it. So I've been warming up to it. I got a couple like younger artists that I'm kind of curating. There's this girl named Jewel Chang. She's 15 years old. She's from South Bay. I'm good friends with her father, but she's cold. She's super cold. And right now we're working on some stuff where I'm producing a little bit of songwriting, arranging, recording, mixing, mastering.
Everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
You're doing everything.
But that I like to be really hands on. So the direction or the intention of the song is realized at the end. and we don't have to depend on other people that weren't part of the process to translate it or take their own interpretation of it. And I don't know. I think there's something so beautiful and organic about that, where you just fit where it's created, and then finish it in the same place. And yeah, that's the goal. I'm in the future. I'm looking to expand to the motherland. Start with a studio first, and then eventually a label.
So you're wearing this trap golf shirt. I hear that you are a little bit of a golf fan. So am
Oh yeah.
I. And you play, correct?
Oh yeah.
Now, my daughter was in a USTA academy, so that kind of took me away from the golf and had me focus on tennis, but she's done with all that. I plan on getting back out on the course soon. What's your best round that you've ever shot?
76.
Oh, you can play.
but let me tell you, I started golfing in 2021.
And you've already shot a 76?
When I tell you, man, from then to now, I've probably played five years worth of golf, man, in 2 years.
I shot an 86 once. That's my best score.
Man, I'm right around 8. My handicap is right around 82, 83 right now. It's like
okay.
11. Yeah,
I might be if I can get back in form, I might be able to get out there with you when I go to Cali. Do you remember the golfer Anthony Kim?
Yeah,
he had a world of talent.
That guy.
Too many parties in LA though.
He got lost in the sauce.
Yeah, LA will do that to you.
Oh yeah.
So what is Tiger Woods the greatest golfer of all time in your opinion, or is it still Jack?
Tiger, easy.
Yeah, I tell people I think Tiger's 15 is kind of like Michael Jordan's 6, even though Bill Russell has more. If you look at the era and what it actually looked like live, I would take him. But here's my hot take about golf. I think if Tiger will put the driver away for the Masters, he's going to win another Masters, and he's actually going to finish with 16. If he takes the driver out the bag and just plays with a utility club on Augusta, I think he still has one more in him in the next 3 years.
You mean if he stays on the fairways off the tee?
Well, that's why I say put the driver away in the utility club. That's why I say put the driver away. Stick to the wood. Like on those short par fours, go ahead and utility club that and put the wood away and the driver away and only use the wood on the par fives.
Right, because his short game is looking – he's coming back.
He's the best short game player ever, and it's not a question. So all he needs to do is get to the short game. Correct.
Yep. He's been kind of struggling with the putter though, but I see it coming back. Like, oh man,
he's the greatest putter ever, and he's the greatest putter. He's the greatest putter and short game player ever. So that's like muscle memory, bicycle. That's going to come back. It's about if he's going to stay on the fairway and have the greens in regulation. If he's got his GIR, he's got another Masters in him, in my opinion. I never get to talk golf with hip hop heads, so I just had to do that.
Hey, I've been seeing a lot more rappers and hip hop people out on the course. Like I have a couple engineers that I play with. Do you know Belly, the rapper?
No.
Belly, he came up under Weekends camp in Toronto. But he's an avid golfer. Schoolboy Q is an avid golfer.
Q golfs? I love Q.
Q is like nice with it. He be playing U.S. Open Pebble Beach at Pro-Ams and stuff.
He plays Pebble? Yo, that's wild.
Pro-Ams, man. I'm talking about televised.
Wow. I had no idea. Well, I guess that's where he's been. He's calling himself soccer dad. I guess he's golf dad too, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of wanted to leave this with some of your highlights. Now, you're already a 3-time Grammy award-winning engineer. Which one of those was, brought you the most joy of the 3 that you already have in your possession? Which one are you like, that means something to me that's different than the other 2? Like, not all championship rings are built differently. Like, if you ask Tom Brady, he's like, no, that Tampa Bay ring without Belichick, that's like having 2 rings, Yeah. Like,
I would have to say the Kings disease because that's where my whole music journey started
Mm-hmm.
with Nas. Nas was 0-14 before that one. So to go from
That's true.
that's the first album I've ever purchased to helping him win his first Grammy in 15 tries.
Wow. Right.
That, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because Nipsey won amazing too, you
Yeah.
know, but Nip wasn't a part of my life like Nas is, you know.
I
Nas is,
didn't want to juxtapose the question like that because I figured it was between the Nipsey or the Nas Grammy, but I didn't want to say it like that. I kind of wanted you to maybe explain and to delve into the why.
yeah, man. Well, that's why, not just yeah,
Okay,
it's
because for a lot of people, the first win is the sweetest, but when you win a few times, sometimes it's not the most important. After a while, when you look at it in retrospect, or whatever your career may be or is becoming, in your case, even as you're transitioning to producer now. So
yeah,
no, I'm with you as somebody that's like, it's one of those things. It's like if you look up to somebody and then you find yourself in the studio with them, it's like, man, I helped them check off that box, and that's a
crazy.
big box to check off because
Yeah,
when he's making King's Disease in 2020, well, it's not like he has a lot of boxes to check off, David.
right.
Right. And so you did help him check off a box. So like shout out
Yeah.
to you for that. What can we be expecting from you in the future? And tell me what your contributions were to Surf or Drown before we get out of here.
The Surfer Drown. Hit Boy recorded most of his own vocals, but I've recorded a couple things here and there, but I mixed the whole project. And I did the Atmos mixes. So yeah, that's been a long time coming, man. And I'm super proud of Hit Boy for this. And like literally in 15 minutes, he's having a celebration for the album down the street on Melrose.
Well, I was actually about to say, on According to Hip Hop, I actually just got done reviewing the album with Mike D.
Mhm.
We gave it a 4 out of 5. But I did give it some honest critiques. Some of my honest critiques, just while you're here, is I felt like that there were a couple records in the middle, like track 6 and 7, that I felt like could have been replaced with better songs, like maybe a song with Benny, seeing how Hit and Benny have an album coming out. And
Mhm.
also to the whole Nip thing, if maybe there was a Nip feature or a Nip hook laying around.
Yeah,
But those
yeah.
were just some of my thoughts. Also, too, I'm a swing for the fences type of character. And, Hit obviously gave us our first big look at According to Hip Hop. And so, I'm unbiased in my critique, but I do want you guys to succeed. So some of my critiques were more critical than the average critique that I give, but that's
Mhm.
out of me keeping it unbiased because Hit gave me the look. So
That,
what
I
do you
mean,
think of
that's the most helpful kind of critique.
right? No. Actually, I was gonna say I love the way you guys work, and I can kind of see how it works because while I'm finishing up the show,
Mhm.
Hit is hitting me up on the gram to let me know that he's listening to my critique.
Oh, crazy.
And
Wow.
I want you to listen to what he just said, and I think this maybe we can live it. He said, "My guy, I just said in the interview earlier, I know it's levels to reach. Still, I'm well aware." And so I love the way that you all are
Yeah.
making the quality, but also know that like there's levels and that you're like still ascending and reaching higher because I know there's more volumes of this coming out, and I'm really excited about what's to come because I think this is a good introduction in the Hit, like the artist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot in the hole, man. There's a lot coming. A
Now
lot
here's
stacked.
my question. Are you gonna end up spitting bars?
Nah, I wouldn't
No,
count on
no, no bar work, no bar
no
work. I
count.
just want to check because when I heard Hit on Composure, I was like, I ain't know Hit had bar work, and now Hit got a whole album. I'm just making sure 2 years from now I'm not pulling up like and we're reviewing your rap album. I'm just making sure.
Yo, man. I would never rule out anything, but I wouldn't count on it.
Copy that. Well, you have anything that you want to leave the people with before we get out of here?
Uh nah, man. It's just I want to preach the value of hard work and lately I've been going through like a lot of tough stuff personally and the thing that kind of helped me get out of it is gratitude and waking up and knowing that I have access to clean water. You know, I just woke up off of a mattress and not the floor. Like little things like that. Put life into perspective. And at the end of the day, don't get fooled by Instagram and social media to believe that their life is any better than yours. Just live your life and enjoy and look at the things that you do have.
Hey, David, it was really, it was great talking to you. I really had a good time. I want us to link back up again soon. I actually started following you on IG and I subscribed to your YouTube page. When I post this up, I'm going to tag your pages in the description and in the keywords so that people have access and can start getting more in rhythm with what you're doing too. And thank
Amazing.
you for making. And I want you to understand, like, I'm cool in every other black teenager's house in this area of town except
Uh-huh.
my own until now because you're involved with K-pop. So I want to thank you for helping me with my daughter. When I go pick her up in a minute, I'll be like, hey, I just interviewed David Kim from the J Hope J Cole record. And so shout out to you for securing my cool points with my daughter.
That's amazing to hear. I appreciate you having me, man. Like I'm down to do this anytime if you ever just want to chop it up. Like I'm
No,
game.
I was actually about to say, I don't want this to be the last time that we talk and speak. So if we could keep the lines of communication over, I'd love to like bring you back up
Sure.
sooner than later and kind of keep this like recurring and talking to you and stuff. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure. And we'll keep cranking out stuff to talk about. So we'll have an opportunity to do this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I want to kind of like, part of what I wanted to step back in and do is I wanted to contribute to the culture and put the people in the light who deserve to be in the light. Because I always felt like I was somebody supposed to be in the light, and it never really happened that way for me. And I'm
Hmm.
not like bitter at all, but I told myself if I step back in, I would want to contribute in a way that
Yeah.
contributed to the people who belong, get their due and their flowers. And you're definitely one of those guys. So kudos to you, all your hard work, your dedication, your story's awesome. Thank you for pulling up on me. And I'm going to be blasting this out to like all my YouTube channels, Mirror Music 99. Coop is problematic. According to Hip Hop is the hub, of course. And, just trying to let the world know who you are. And thanks for sharing all your positive and honest insights this evening.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Go enjoy the party with Hit. Tell Hit I said what up and great album.
Will do.
All
Appreciate
right,
you,
man.
boss.
Take
Peace.
care, brother.